Hey, Harry.
Hey, hey,
Let me turn it up.
can you hear me?
I can hear you. We're going to try this again today. Third time's a charm.
It's all good. Hey, no worries. I know how the internet can be sometimes.
I know, it's crazy. They were out here, and then I was like, why is it being so weird? And then obviously, right after that, like an hour later, it was fine. I was like, we're just going to give it up for today.
Yeah.
But when I had the interview, I did an interview with Vinny,
hmm
and it worked perfect that time. So I was like, all right, I guess we should be good to go.
Yeah, that's good.
Ah, there's Kyle. All right, let me change this. Okay, perfect. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, you could try again.
That's what I told her. I said, look, third time's the charm, so we're gonna try this again, and hopefully it actually works. It doesn't cut off. So I mean, I haven't seen them. I haven't had any problems, so I think we should be fine.
Sounds good.
But how are you guys? How have you guys been? Basically, I just kind of want to talk to you guys and see what life has been like since the coronavirus, and it kind of just, pretty much everything is either like for us filmmakers is on hold or on pause. Some people are able to work from home. A lot of people are just out of work right now. I know you guys were just starting your business, so we'll talk about kind of what that situation has been like for you guys, and how you just been trying to stay busy or stay, mentally well, and just what's been going on with you guys.
Okay.
That's good.
So you guys started a business with, is Pete part of the business as well?
Yes.
Okay, so Kyle, Harry, and Pete, you guys started like a casting business called Casting Buffalo. And Hannah Watts, she's just an artist, creative in general. She did like my logo, and she had just did you guys' logo, and you guys were just getting ready to like start everything, and then the pandemic happened. The movie that was in Buffalo Bros, they shut it down. So what has that been like for you guys starting this business, and then just the whole world just kind of shutting down?
Kyle, you want to start?
Yeah. So it's funny because it's almost like this weird. We've been talking about doing this and becoming a conglomerate
Instead,
partnership
you
for a
guys
while.
are doing casting stuff instead of always, separating. They might as well come together.
Exactly. We've been talking about it since Marshall, since the first time that all three of us worked together on a film. But we've all kind of done our different things and have our different niches and whatever that word is, and doing different things. And so we've been talking about it for a while, and we even talked about it into last year. And then it was like, okay, start of the new year. Again, it comes to January, February. We're in Buffalo. It's the dry season. So Harry and I were talking about, let's start meeting. Let's start making this happen and create the business. And then we got a call from Syracuse about potentially casting for day players for a film in Syracuse. So it kind of then expedited. Go ahead.
Which one you got the call?
I did. I got a call from it, and it was with one of the producers of Marshall, and we also worked on with him as a producer for Bashira, Chris Bunjern, and we all worked with him before, yeah. And we were like, okay, cool. We're thinking about creating this partnership, and now this would be a great startup opportunity for us. But it kind of expedited everything that we were doing, because all of a sudden it was like, okay, now we have to start doing this, this, and this, and this, and this, while Harry and I were still working on Nightmare Alley. We were both location.
Remember when I ran into you guys at Cafe 59?
Yes.
It was you, Harry, and P, and I was like, what are you guys doing?
And that was kind of one of the first
Yeah.
meetings that we were talking about it, like, okay, what steps do we need to take? So it was kind of expedited everything that we were doing, and we had, a week of that we were working on Nightmare Alley. And, I was also able to, like, behind the scenes still try to set up stuff with Chris and get stuff in motion so Peter can get started with that film. And then it was, once that wrapped up for us, we joined in the casting search, helping him out. And then the pandemic hit. So, and which, everything in the entire world for film just kind of went on pause. And we were kind of stuck with being like, well, in a way, it's a good thing that stuff stopped, because now we can look at all the little details, go over the finer details and stuff like that. And this way we'll be prepared when the wheels start turning again.
Yeah, when everything opens back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To attack it.
Definitely. I'd say if I could add one thing is definitely, seeing how you run a business, it's kind of like, an ever going process. It's a garden in some ways that you're tending to constantly. So I think like the fact that it slowed down for a little bit was kind of nice, because it let us kind of catch our breaths and like kind of focus again on building things up and really honing in on kind of what we're doing here and making it the best that it can be.
Yeah, so you guys can do it the right way and not just like rush everything because it was moving so fast. So I mean, like, it's a blessing and a curse. Obviously, it's, we wouldn't rather not be in this situation, but at least it gives you guys some more time, like you said, to get things in order, to do it the right way, and tend to it. So I don't know, what have you guys been doing in the meantime to just, like, there's no film work? Are you guys doing other jobs? Are you kind of just like staying home, hanging out? What are you guys, kind of doing during this lockdown?
I'm stuck at home. I'm just trying to keep it safe and all that, and keep my loved ones safe and that. And my dad's still out there working because he's an essential worker, and he works at a hardware store, so he's still constantly do that. And then I have my grandfather who lives very close to me, but he's almost 87 years old, so it's like making sure that we're keeping our distance, but we're still being taken care of and stuff.
So do you check on them, or are you guys just like
phone calls and stuff? And with my dad, constantly he's been kind of checking between my uncle and his brother on my grandfather and stuff like that. My uncle, he has a business, he works from home and all that, so he's been kind of out of it, so this way he's able to go there. And since I figured that I'm younger, I don't want to be spreading something that I don't, to either of them. So it's been kind of a tough thing, because especially now, all of a sudden, March in Buffalo decides to be gorgeous out and no snow. And now it's like, what do we do?
I've been trying to go, my dog's been getting more walks than she usually is. So.
Well, she's probably enjoying that.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, but focusing on how we can, better our practices and what we're doing, and just learning more about things and trying to connect with people. One thing that you can do from a distance still, because of social media, is networking. We can still network. So we're definitely doing as much networking as we can, trying to meet new actors, new talent, new filmmakers too.
Yeah, everybody's kind of like in the same position, so it's kind of like an equal ground of like, why not connect to people that you haven't talked to in a while? And that we've sent letters from the business and from ourselves to various people that we worked with, just connecting, checking in how they're doing. Like, this is what we're doing during this time to keep ourselves sane, but at the same time, how are your families doing during this time in need? Everybody's in a similar boat. It just depends on the degrees and what boat you're in. But
not in the same, but maybe a variety.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so like Harry and I, we talk multiple times a day, and like how do our ever changing ways of how we want to approach the business, how do we want to make ourselves different, how do we reach out to people, how do we connect with people. Because one day this is going to start turning again, and we got to be prepared for that, because we kind of started it going into a slope. It's like, okay, we have to be ready to prepare for when we start getting things. So I think just connecting with filmmakers, connecting with people has been a huge uplifting thing for us too. Very humbling, because you're seeing everyone on the level, and and the chance of us even able to do this, it's awesome, because it's like, okay, I don't know when the next time I was going to be able to see Jazz, but you know, you always forget you're always a video chat or a phone call away from people.
Thank God for technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing about the filmmaking industry is that it's, you know, it's a business that allows for it to be very cohesive and very much a community thing. It has to be, you know. And you look at other jobs, not in the film world, just other professions, and you aren't afforded that same like human to human interaction, that same opportunity to be close, you know. So it's nice.
Also why it was, I mean, like most jobs, just being around people is dangerous, but it's like when we're actually filming, you got hundreds of people, you know, together on a set. So it's like, it's not possible at all to really, you know, be able to go on a shoot unless it's just maybe one person, because it's just asking kind of for a disaster right now. So it sucks, you know, but.
And we're creatures of communication, filmmakers. So, you know, even though maybe some of us aren't that great at it, but we're still creatures of communication, in which once we get on a set together, we're constantly talking to people, interacting with people, and, you know, having these relationships, department to department, to people, to actor, to director, to this and that. And then that world stops. And I think for us, we're kind of just finding a lot of cabin fever because it's like we're stuck in four walls. How do we continue to communicate in a profession that was built on it? You know,
are you writing at all, Harry? Because I mean, I know you write and direct. You had your movie. Are you writing at all during this time, or you guys kind of, or you just focused on?
You know,
companies?
I'm not personally writing. I think Kyle might be doing a little writing here and there, but I'm trying to focus on a lot of like bookkeeping, business stuff that I've just had to, you know, keep up on and want to just stay on top of. We're also, you know, we've been tinkering with some ideas of doing some other types of things to engage with people further through social media and various platforms too. So, you know, we're actively doing stuff. Kyle, do you want to talk about, are you writing anything at all?
Yes. So I've been slowly trying to get my thoughts together, because it's like, this is very inspiring, the craziness that's going on, you know. But yeah, I have two feature ideas, and now I've just been kind of like, which one which one grows in my mind. So I've been writing and trying to put together ideas for that feature, because that's one of my next goals too, is while dealing, you know, while working with Casting Buffalo, while working on sets and stuff like that, you know, it's time sometime, you know, last time I directed or did a film, you know, look back, it was 2014. It's incredible. Like, it's so far away, you know. And, you know, I was lucky to have that opportunity when I was so young and naive. And now it's like I have all of this experience. It's time to get back to it, you know. And that's really my goal for this year, is to kind of make sure that I write the script, make sure that I start creating a business plan, you know, and getting out there to find investors and build everything from the ground up, because it's time to look, you know, inward as well, while pushing outward with, you know, a business that I've created with my partners. So I'm taking this time and be like, okay, taking it as a blessing in disguise, to be like, okay, slow down, which is something I think this world needs in general, and that this is bringing to this world, is slow down, look at yourself, look at your loved ones, and look what you need to focus on. So I'm taking it as that for writing. And at the same exact time, you know, working by putting heart into the business that we're creating. And, you know, Harry's been looking at like a lot of the legal and financial stuff. I've been looking at more to the marketing and advertising things.
Have a firm?
What's that?
Your dad, doesn't he have a firm? Or your
Yeah, my dad has a law firm downtown that I work at as well. I do some of the marketing stuff for them. I'm hoping eventually that, you know, Casting Buffalo will take off to the point where I can sort of stop my duties at the firm and keep my focus to being just, you know, the filmmaking stuff that I do, which is what, you know, I went to school for and what I'd like to do as my main profession. But that's what we're working towards, you know.
Yeah, it is.
I also think, I mean, because you know how everybody is always like, you know, trying to write, trying to be creative. And sometimes I worry that even now, when like the world is telling us like to be still, that maybe people are still pressuring themselves to like be creative, like, oh, you have to be writing or you have to be doing something during this time. Like, it is okay if you are creative where you just say, this is a lot for me, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think people should feel bad if they don't feel creative or they don't want to be working on something. It's like, you are allowed to not feel like you need to be doing something all the time. This is a perfect time to not do anything if you don't feel like it, and don't feel bad for not doing anything.
Yeah, it's a mental health check, and that's why I mentioned like it's very much you have to look inward in this time and what you need, which might be, you know, you might be someone who's very anxiety ridden, who's very kind of scared of what's going on and stuff like that. And it's okay to do nothing. Like, it's okay, you know, take the time, take the pause, and take it for what it is. And it's a mental health check. And, you know, thank God we have now like mental health lines and stuff like that, you know, hotlines and stuff, because people are dealing with that as well. And, you know, I'm not 24/7 working on stuff. No, I probably work for stuff literally 4 or 5 hours a day. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to sit in front of the TV and watch Tiger King. So it's like,
I haven't watched it yet. I keep hearing it. I haven't watched it yet.
I just started yesterday.
Is it
Yeah.
My God.
I finished it. I loved it. I won't say too much, but I loved it. And there's so much in there. I mean, you could literally make a documentary about each and every one of those people. They could have
Yeah.
stuff to have a documentary about each and every person in that. They could have their own doc, you know. But
Is that guy in jail
I believe
or
he.
in prison? Like,
pretty
I mean, there's
apparently.
multiple people, but I feel like the main guy. I saw online
think
somewhere
so.
it was like Cardi B was raising money. I don't know, to come out of prison or so. I don't know what's true or not with all the internet stuff, but I swear I seen something where somebody was in jail because they were trying to get one of the other people on the movie killed or something.
Mhm.
Watch the series. Don't spoil it yet, Eric.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot. You
Yeah,
should
I
check
think
it
we're
out.
gonna start watching it, and then we can.
But I mean, for creatives and for people who are writers, for screenwriters, for directors, and even us as filmmakers, no, it's a time to, you know, pull out the DVD, Blu-ray collection, pull out the streaming services, check out your favorite movies, you know, watch them again and ask questions, you know, pick them apart. You know, I haven't watched this in forever. Why do I like this movie so much? You know, and it might also inspire you for writing and direct and whatever else you're doing, because now it's like, okay, let's focus on what I like about certain things and helps mold what I'm trying to create. You know, so it can't, you know, it's weird homework because you're sitting on a couch watching a TV or a film, but it you know, it can be beneficial for what
Yeah,
you
I gotta say, sometimes as a filmmaker, I'm both embarrassed and ashamed when there's certain films I haven't seen. If I'm in a social situation and somebody said, "Oh, have you seen this movie?" and it's maybe like a really critically acclaimed film or something, and it's kind of like you're not gonna lie and say you've seen it, so you're just like, no, and then it just kind of, you know, you feel like maybe you've been a bad person. So this is nice because, and also, you know, I hate, it drives me nuts that as a filmmaker, I don't get to watch nearly as many movies as I would like to, you know, or should, just because I'm busy and I make excuses.
I'm not gonna say who, but a UPM actually did that to me. He was asking me if I had seen like certain. The thing is, I like being in this industry, but I like stupid movies, like rom-coms. Like, I really do. Those are the movies I like to watch. Like, no offense, but I don't really care to see the movies that people claim to be, you know, I like what I like. And so they made a comment basically like, have you seen this movie? And like, no, and they were like, what do you watch? And they were like, how are you in this business and you don't even like watch these kind of movies? And, you know, I kind of took it a certain kind of way because I get it's like, okay, I've seen certain movies. Yeah, maybe you should watch this one. But overall, it's like, I feel like you don't have to be like a crazy fanatic or watch all those movies just to watch the film industry.
No, it's true. I mean, that makes me think of a moment in my life when I was in film school, and there was like freshman year, they were going around having everybody talk about like what their favorite movie was or something. And this was like one of the very first days of our film class. And I remember a couple of the kids had given some answers to some movies that I thought were not very good movies. And I remember thinking in that moment, like, geez, like, how are you in film school if you like those movies, you know? But then 4 years later, when we're graduating, a couple of those people, I realized like I had an immense amount of respect for some of those people who, even though I thought they maybe had a crappy taste in movies here and there, they were actually pretty good filmmakers and turned out to be pretty good people. So, yeah, that's just.
I think it's like, you should definitely study and stuff, but if it's not your thing or,
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of film, is that it's interpretive, and that's why there's so many different genres, and it's up for interpretation depending on the person's personality and who it is. Like
Exactly.
I love, there's certain movies that I love. There's certain movies that, I have a guilty pleasure for, that I'll put on, and it's not aligning with anything else that I love. You know what I mean? Like, it exists and it's okay. And I'm someone who's built towards that. When I got into film in college, and then I ended up deciding to direct, is that I always wanted to direct. And of course, that's everybody and their mother's dream to do. But I felt in order to do that, or wanting to it and learning about it, is I need to learn every single facet of department, film, everything that I need to, and that everything moving forward is towards the ultimate goal of directing. So when I look at different movies, even when I look at the ones that I just, melt away and I'll get engrossed in just whatever I'm watching, if it's something as stupid as, Nickelodeon's Good Burger or whatever, like
A good movie.
exactly, like
Yeah.
the classics, you know what I mean? It's, I still like taking the time once in a while to actually look at it as a film, because I'm lucky enough to be able to watch something and just watch it. And then if I want to look at it at a critical eye, I can. But I usually turn it off, especially for first viewings of movies, unless something takes me out of a movie. Mm-hmm. Something that they do is against the grain, or something that or something's beautifully done so much that I'm just like, holy crap, that was amazing. How did they do that? But yeah, I think that's just what filmmaking is that ability, is that you don't need to be watching things to study, and you don't have to watch Citizen Kane, and you don't have to know that movie by heart and talk about Memento and talk about, like Lord of the Rings trilogy and how amazing it is. Like, just watch Good Burger. It's fun.
Okay, so how do you guys think things are going to be different in our industry after this? Like, do you think things are going to change? Do you think it'll be the same? What do you guys think once everything ramps back up?
Harry, actually, we've been sending articles back and forth talking about it a little bit too. And I think it's going to be a big change. Unfortunately, I'm a huge fan of a theater and being in the theater and the theater experience, and seeing it with film, if it's still available on film, and if you can find a place that has a film projector as opposed to a digital version of it, or IMAX or anything like that. Because I think it's still a engrossing experience that I think people have to engage in. And unfortunately, I think this industry is going to look at it and say, so many of these platforms are streaming anyways. Uh-huh. And then now we've tried these big features available on video on demand for $20 or whatever the price that they put on there. Can we get quick money through uh-huh. that? Yeah. And then I feel like it's gonna. I honestly, I think what's gonna happen is you're gonna have blockbusters, which are now turning into, superhero genre films, like Marvel's, are gonna be the only ones in theaters, and you're gonna have these big platforms, blockbusters come out, and you're gonna lose a lot of the smaller films, like even the Blumhouse movies and stuff like that. I think a lot of them are going to go away. And
Because it won't make enough at the theaters, or they'll
yeah, I think they'll be able to engross more people. And
Yeah. I
yeah,
also think that, you know, I think the attraction of going straight to VOD for these companies is that they don't have to risk another scenario like this happening again, because the last thing they want is to have to delay their movie. You know what I mean? These big studios, they don't want to have to push it months after. They want it to go to the theaters where they can start making money off tickets, you know? So I think the fact that unless there's significant changes around the world and we're better at containing things like this, I think people are going to just get used to dealing with things like this in the event that something were to happen again, you know?
yeah. And if people start creating these like watch parties, you know, then they're going to sit there and say, oh yeah, well, I'll just stay at home and I'll watch with my friends on here and we'll talk while we're watching it, you know?
Yeah, I thought that was actually a really cool idea that Netflix created that whole like watch party thing. And I kind of agree with you guys. I'm also nervous that a lot of studios, just because of like maybe the money that they might be losing out on now, won't take as many risks with original ideas after this. I think it's going to be hard for new filmmakers who are trying to pitch to studios right now. Indie, I think, will be fine if they can find smaller investors, but I think overall it's just going to be a hard time for people to pitch their original ideas because people are going to be so nervous that they just want something where they can make money.
Yeah, that's why I think the studio system is very much not the studio system anymore. It's very much like, here's big business, here's Disney, here's, you know what I mean, here's Warner Brothers, and then here's indie platforms, you know. And that's why that's why I mentioned, like, I feel like it's going to be Marvel movies or Harry Potter remakes or all these notoriety, big things, money things that we're going to see in theaters. But we're also, because of that, we're going to eventually see a lot of theaters close because they're not putting out as much. And people are now definitely, if they're not getting as much business, all these theaters are going to raise their concession prices because that's how they make their money.
Concession is already crazy.
And you're not going to want to do it. I think the only real benefit out of what this is, this COVID-19 and all that affecting us for filmmaking, is that I think that if you have a drive-in near you, it's going to be a gigantic draw. And we're lucky to have one in Buffalo, the Transit Drive-In. And I think that's going to be huge because you can stay contained in your own world and still go watch a movie with people around you.
Yeah.
And I kind of can't wait because I kind of want to go do it. You know what I mean? It's just a different. It's funny how.
Drive-in.
Say that again?
Well, no, I mean, no. I'm pretty sure nothing. Well, I'm in Atlanta right now, and I don't know if. I'm pretty sure they have a drive-in somewhere. I don't know. I've never even thought about it really.
I'm sure they do. I bet you in every state there's probably still a drive-in. Or maybe not in Alaska. I don't know.
I just know, like, a lot of people, obviously there's not like a lot of space in New York City to do that. It's not cost effective. So a lot of people, when they would come to upstate, they had never been to a drive-in. So I'm not saying that it's a blessing to be able to go, but it was something that I kind of took for granted. Like, you don't go to the drive-in in the time, you know, like, that was an experience. You would go to the drive-in, get to see 2 movies, hang out in the car. Like, that was such a fun thing to do. So I do think, you know, you might see more of those popping up around.
Yeah, I think and it's good because, I mean, drive-ins been around forever, but they've lost so much business over the years because of everything and being bigger and more available. And I think it's funny how sometimes when the world starts collapsing on each other, we start going back to our roots and stuff like that. And that's one of the things that we're going to look at, you know, and going back to TV and going back to, you know what I mean? Like,
well, there's been oddly a lot of weird reversals. You think about how now that there's a lot of people who are doing business in their house, working from home. So they're 7 or 8 hours a day talking and bringing their business into their living room or their house. Like, you never brought your work into your house like that until now. And all of a sudden there's this flip, you know, it's like,
and I think when we were talking about our business, everybody else's businesses too. Is that I wonder how it's going to affect everyone else if these other businesses like a Geico or someone, where you're in booths next to each other all day, are they going to turn around and be like, can I make them all mobile and save rent on a building, or how can I save money and just do it? It's seeing it done mobily. Is that going to be a thing? My girlfriend Becca, she's a teacher, and now it's experiencing how do you teach from home, and how do we adapt to that and also integrate technology to it.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the last things I want to ask you guys, when this is all over, and Harry, Kyle, whoever wants to go first, once things open back up, what is the first thing that you are going to do? Harry, you go first.
Ooh, I'm a big eater at fine restaurants, so I'll be having a nice meal. I can tell you that. I don't know exactly where yet, but it's going to be good, and I'm going to invite as many friends as I can.
Take
me to the nicest place.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm every year for the last, 5 or 6 years, something like that, me and my group of friends have done like bar league softball and played softball and all that. So for me, I think it's just getting my friends together, go doing some type of activity in which we're able to be ourselves and be together, and then go get as many wings as possible because I am dying for chicken wings so bad.
I don't know, but I thought there were still a lot of restaurants.
There are, but there's paranoia and who's taking care of it the right way and who's what, Plus, of course, the restaurants I love are across town for me, so it's like.
Yeah.
I don't know what I want to do. I was making a joke that as soon as things open back up, I'm gonna like catch a flight right to New York City to see all my girlfriends so we can go to like brunch, a day party. I'm like, I just want to go out and hang with my girlfriends in the city. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but I just want to like be out with my friends, and like just have a good time once this is all over. So
I think it's gonna be so funny that like we won't be able to wait until we can all interact, and then about 3 days in, we're all gonna be back on our couch, staying away from everybody.
We're like, give everybody a hug, say hi. And it's
Great.
like, this is great.
Nice
now I need to work again.
We got too used to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, people are gonna like turn out to be like drunks after this. It's like, what else is there to do? Have a drink at home at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted to chat with you guys and see what's going on, and I think when Kyle had mentioned it at first, I wonder if he paused. What? Harry, you still good?
Yeah, I'm here.
It's not me this time.
Yeah.
But I just want to thank you guys because I wanted to chat with you, and he's paused now, but luckily we're about to finish up. But
yeah, I'm back.
You're back. Okay, good. I was like, it's not me this time. I was saying thank you because I know when you had mentioned, at the time I was like, I'm not ready to do anything. I just want to chill and watch TV. But then I was like, no, I really do just want to talk to people and see, how is everybody doing and what they're doing to just stay, mentally well or keep busy and, see how my folks are doing.
Yeah, no, it's always a pleasure to talk with you, Jazz.
Yeah, Jazz. And, and one of the reasons, I brought that up to you, because it's like, why not do something like this and connect? And, for Casting Buffalo, we're planning on, we're actually going to launch this week. We want to bring a contest out there, because we said, what else? You're stuck in your house and we have all these actors and all these talented people doing it. So we want to bring a contest in which we've put together over $400 worth of prizes. And we want you to get up and cast yourself in your favorite role and do a monologue that's under 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and actually put it out on the internet.
Cool idea.
I like that. Put it out there. Tag us in it. Put it out there. Why not? Let's interact. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, send me the info. Well, just if you post it up, I'll see it.
Yeah, we'll get it out there.
Definitely. Well, that sounds like a great idea. You guys, make sure you guys are practicing social distance. Stay safe. Just do what you need to do to just take care of yourselves during this time. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you guys. Take care now.
Bye, Kyle. See you guys.
See ya.